Hey, welcome back to another tutorial. In this one, we're going to look at grouping some of our objects together to make it easier to reposition them and rotate them as and when you needed. So for example, we'll start with the head. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all the head pieces that we want to group. We've selected all these now, and you can see I've got them highlighted here. And all I'm going to do is navigate to group and group selected. I'm going to name this group G head, so that's a group head. I'm going to click OK to enter. And now what you'll see, if we switch to the hierarchy view, you'll see our objects are all grouped in here. This is another example of where you need to use and get used to, I suppose, utilizing the layer and grouping systems. I now can click that central group. I can click the rotate icon. If I begin to rotate or move this head about, see, it'll start to rotate around all the objects associated with that group. Now, there is one problem with the group. At the moment, the pivot point is off center. So you can see here where it's not quite where we want it to be. Now, to change the actual pivot point itself, what we're going to have to do is just come over to the panel. And what we want to do is click hierarchy, and we're going to affect the pivot. And then what we're going to do is click center to object. And you can see that pivot is now central to the object. We can also, if we would like the pivot to be in a particular place, move that pivot with the move tool. So you can see here where I've selected the move tool, I'm still in effect pivot, and I can probably move it into a much better position where I'd like it to go, or you would like it to go. Once I'm happy with the pivot placement, I can then deselect this and come back in, so deselect the effect pivot only and come back into my rotate, and now it moves based upon that pivot. So you can see here. So at this point, you might as well want to re-edit the neck. So again, you might want to come into the modify and just adjust the height of this, just so when you do select the pivot to move, you know, you can ensure there's no sort of clipping like this. Again, maybe that radius needs adjusting a little bit. And now we've got a great sort of pivot point to sort of play around with this object and rotate it. Now, at any point, we can select this pivot whilst in your rotate. So select we select the group, and we can zero our rotations out back to its original position using the X, Y, and Z transform coordinates at the bottom where my mouse is wiggling about there. So that's how you would sort of use groups and utilize them. And again, this might be really good for posing and creating a bit more of a look to the model. So give that a go. I'm going to wrap this video up. It's a very quick one, and then we'll jump into some more beginner content in the next one.